It's gotta be one of these places. The Arsonists of Bug Spray. He must have worked at one of these joints.
In a previous episode, Jack Kelso had a showdown with Leland Monroe at his mansion. There he learned that Dr. Harlan Fontaine used a mentally fragile bug sprayer to commit all of the arsons. While Cole and Biggs were working on the Nicholson electroplating case, Kelso was tracking down this bug sprayer. But I want to pause for a minute. Did you see that handwritten note in his notebook? They pass over it really quickly, but I wanted to read it. It's neat to think that Kelso was keeping a diary about this whole thing. The doctor is dead. Benson is finished, and Leland Monroe is going to limp his way into a jail cell. Safe to say, the Suburban Redevelopment Fund isn't going to be around for much longer. All that's left is the guy who has Elza, the maniac who burned the houses for Fontaine. I know he's a cowboy, I know he works in pest control, but otherwise, he's a nobody. First on the list is Rapid Exterminators. We arrive at Rapid Exterminators at 2:44 p.m.
Help you?
You can tell me.
How many guys you have working here, Pop?
Who's asking, son?
It could be official or unofficial. Depends on how you want to play it.
You should get to a hospital, son. That arm of yours appears to be letting in daylight.
Save the pity for the other guys. They're the ones who need it. I'm looking for a big cowboy who works pest control. Does he work here?
We don't have anyone like that here.
You sure? I'm not the type of guy you want coming back.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Jack tried to be intimidating, but the old man wasn't having any of it. Just turns his back and ignores him. This is a dead end, but looky here. On the countertop, we find the next newspaper. Crusade Against Corruption. Peterson pledges to clean up the LAPD. This is the guy who met Kelso in his hospital room. The guy Kelso now calls boss.
What have you got?
Looks like a drug overdose.
Get away from him, Phelps. This is my case.
Shut your fucking mouth! Since when does a bagman work a case?
I knew this creep wasn't on the morphine heist. Victim of his own product.
Hey, detective! Can we back it off a notch? This is getting out of hand.
A time to talk and a time to shut up. Now is a time to be quiet, son.
Courtney Sheldon was a corpsman, Roy. He served his country. He went out with a medical kit and an Army 45 into places that made the Valley of Death look like a picnic. He was either naive enough or dumb enough to get involved in the Suburban Redevelopment Fund, along with the mayor, the DA, Monroe, and a certain crooked cop. He was involved in the morphine heist, but he has a puncture wound in his jugular, which makes this a murder case. He was a better man than you'll ever know. You say one more word about him and I will blow your fucking head off!
You finally lost it, partner.
I have a pretty good idea why Sheldon's dead. And I know about Monroe. Your vast, corrupt future is draining away as we speak.
I got better things to do than argue the rub with you.
Stay with him until the coroner gets here. Make sure technical services bags the evidence. If you let this creep anywhere near it, I'll come looking for you.
Yes, sir.
You know, Phelps, you're not the worst asshole going round.
Thanks, Herschel.
Ooh-wee, Cole Phelps, my man. What a moment. The amount of respect that Cole had for Courtney is off the charts. And that's saying a lot after what he and Courtney went through together. We saw earlier that Cole was disgusted with Courtney when Courtney performed a mercy killing out in the field. And as we'll see later, Courtney even hurt Cole. But all of this Cole has put behind him. He's heartbroken to see a corpsman lying on this hot LA cement. He deserved better. Now it's up to Kelso to make sure this doesn't happen to any more of the Fighting Sixth. We don't find any more clues here. This is not our exterminator shop, so heading back to the car, we can head to the Nuclear Bug and Rodent Control. Sounds like a business from the Fallout universe. We arrive at 2:59 p.m. Slays bugs, it says outside. Heading inside.
Welcome to Nuclear. What can I do you for?
I work for the DA. I need to speak with an exterminator, big guy with a cowboy accent.
We have only 3 people work here. Me and 2 Mexicans. They're both on the scrawny side.
Thanks for your help.
No dice. Well, that leaves one left. Last up is Westlake Pest Control. We arrive at 3:12 p.m. Westlake Pest Control. Quick and reliable service. Heading inside.
I work for the DA. I'm looking for a big cowboy who does extermination. Anyone like that working here?
Well, I wouldn't want to get anyone into any trouble.
We could do this the hard way. An address?
Yeah, he lives in a bunkhouse on the remains of the old Rancho Rincon.
Thanks.
But stepping back in time a day, the day before, Kelso confronted Leland Monroe. Cole and Biggs got a call to meet the coroner at Dr. Fontaine's surgery. They arrive at 6 p.m.
Cole, you made it.
What's this got to do with me, Rusty?
Dr. Fontaine, prominent shrink, dead in his patient's room, spine snapped like a twig. The suspect is one of his mental patients.
I've met Fontaine.
His last patient was Elsa Lichtman, Cole. She's missing. Nurse said that she saw some big Boris Karloff type carry her out of here.
The best thing that you can do to help me, Rusty, is let me take a look around.
Sure thing, Cole. This way.
Rusty's a lazy cop, but you know what? I think deep down he's a good guy. He didn't have to call Cole in here. Lord knows Roy wouldn't have done so, but he cares about Cole, and so we let him know that his Elsa is missing. Heading inside, we can move past the secretary and into Fontaine's office.
Take your time. I'll give you and the doctor some privacy.
We find him lying cold on the floor. Examining his face.
Destroyed by a monster of your own creation, Dr. Fontaine. I've heard that story somewhere before.
F for Fontaine. F for Frankenstein. Or is it Frankenstein? At any rate, examining the left hand. I.H. An engraved lighter? Okay. Did this belong to the cowboy? Fontaine's mental patient who came back and snapped his neck? If so, his initials are I.H. But does that help us narrow it down? Those are all of Fontaine's secrets. Moving across the room, however, we see something oddly out of place. Bending over to pick it up.
So much for your foresight, Doctor.
Oh, a crystal ball. Seems like this was the murder weapon. This cowboy, this bug sprayer, bashed Fontaine's head in with this crystal ball, then snapped his neck like a twig. Turning right, we see a small desk, and beneath the lamp, a document. Dr. Harlan J. Fontaine, PH consultant psychiatrist, opening up the manila envelope. Leland, listed below are the properties you wanted accounted for. My associate has visited each and made a thorough survey, and from what he tells me, I gather these families and residents no longer require the assistance provided by our relocation program. Kind regards, Dr. Harlan Fontaine.
Fontaine was having the houses burned for Monroe.
And flipping it over, what do we see? Steffens, Morelli, and Sawyer. But Sawyer is circled. Liability? Speak to Curtis.
Monroe wasn't happy. People started dying and it attracted attention. He and the doctor lost control.
Leland wrote a note to Fontaine. Harlan, this was not our arrangement. Your associate is overstepping his mark. Get him under control, or I will take whatever action is necessary. Monroe wanted them gone, but he didn't want them dead. Not because he cares about them, he's a monster, but because their deaths would attract too much attention, bring in the police, as it did. His empire is unraveling solely because Fontaine didn't have his cowboy on a tight enough leash. And on the next page, August 15th, 1947, status of subject, treatment and observation ongoing. Oh, here we get to learn a little bit more about this cowboy. Personal history. The subject was born into an Oklahoman sharecrop farming family. Failed harvests during the Dust Bowls of the 1930s led to the family being evicted, and they undertook the journey west to California. The subject's mother and younger brother both died of starvation while on the road. The subject's father found work as a stuntman in low-budget cowboy films. Oh, so that's where the cowboy came from. The subject was urged to pursue the same career, but a naturally reserved disposition and physical awkwardness made this difficult. The subject trained as a gas fitter and showed some mechanical aptitude, but was drafted into the Marines at the outbreak of the war. he served as a redacted until an incident redacted. Is it just another coincidence that we find yet another Marine? Who is this guy? Could Cole know him? The subject's father died in November of 1945. The subject returned from service to live alone on the property father and son once shared. His father died while he was at war? This poor guy. Nature of disorder. When referred to this physician, the subject was suffering from an acute case of battle fatigue, manifested in sensory flashbacks, disturbed attention, and sleep disturbance. The subject described symptoms such as vision impairment, headache, tachypnea, tachycardia, and excessive sweating. The subject experienced phantom physical sensations when in a wakeful state and intense nightmares when sleeping. The subject was unable to disassociate memory from reality, frequently regressing to the trauma of redacted. During early diagnostic sessions, the subject admitted to feeling a morbid fear of and a deep fascination with fire. Conclusions. A determination was made that the subject had entered an advanced state of catatonia, which could not be overcome by psychotherapy alone. Treatment history. The subject began a course of drug treatment in conjunction with clinical hypnotherapy sessions. Sessions were initially scheduled once every 2 weeks. Morphine tartrate, redacted cc's, in doses redacted, was administered to counteract symptoms of anxiety, while hypnotic induction and verbal suggestion techniques were applied. Treatment was initially ineffective. The subject reported no change in the frequency or severity of flashback episodes and headaches. Additional sessions were scheduled in 2-hour blocks to allow deeper sedation, morphine tartrate, redacted cc's in doses redacted, and increased responsiveness. The subject began to experience diminished physical symptoms, but became highly susceptible to suggestion and ideation. As a result, the subject was kept at this physician's clinic more frequently in order to prevent him from harming himself or others. Additional medication was prescribed and sessions were scheduled once every 3 to 4 days. Catharsis exercises were undertaken, where the subject redacted in a controlled environment and redacted. Could that be set fires in a controlled environment? The subject reported conflict between feelings of hopelessness and feelings of serenity brought on by volunteer work undertaken on this physician's behalf. Prognosis. The subject is fighting persistent delusions and paranoid schizoid tendencies and managing with the help of drug treatment and therapy to keep them at bay. However, it is the opinion of this physician that any relaxation of these treatments would be dangerous. The subject could, without continued guidance, slip back into the clutches of his many demons and enter a new antisocial state of psychopathy. Signed, Dr. Harlan J. Fontaine. And this is the guy he chose to burn houses for Leland Monroe? That must have been the volunteer work we read about. He took advantage of this poor soldier suffering from his time in the war and the loss of his entire family. But was it the war in general that traumatized this poor guy? Or was it some specific event? We get the impression there was a specific event because it's redacted from this letter. What happened during the war that so traumatized this guy? And if he was in the Marines, and if Cole knew him, did that event happen to Cole too? Near to the desk, we see some broken glass. So the cowboy came from outside, broke the glass inwards, reached around, and opened the doors. On the desk, we find a map.
Good doctor has been marking this map.
And beneath it, a piece of paper. Taking out some pencil lead, we can drag it across to reveal the image. What have we here?
Edgewood Grove, McCarthy Vista, Crescent Heights, Rancho Escondido. Do those names mean anything to you, Herschel?
Yeah. How come?
These are the names of all of the places that either burned to the ground like Rancho Escondido, or where at least one home that was in the way was reduced to ash. Harlan drew a map for the cowboy, and on that map marked each location that needed to be razed to the ground. This is as hard of evidence as we could ever get that the Suburban Redevelopment Fund is guilty of those murders. But wait, nearby we find a map of LA.
New houses, all being built in the path of the freeway?
Looks like this is a map of a projected freeway being built. Why would the Suburban Redevelopment Fund be building new houses in the path of a freeway? And just to make sure, we can take the plot of the Wilshire district and place this over our map. Sure enough, the freeway goes through all of these residential plots.
Jack was wrong. It's not about insurance, it's about eminent domain.
What are you talking about, Cole?
The government reclaims the land in the path of the freeway and pays the improved value of the land with the new houses sitting on it.
What about the stiffs who paid their deposits?
Worst case, they get their money back. But the syndicate pockets millions on the improved value of the land.
So where does Jack's boss come into it?
He's the key. He carries the insurance. The insurance proves how much the houses are worth.
And they're worth nothing?
Firewood, all of them.
That's about as neat a scam as you can imagine. How are we gonna prove any of this, Cole? Doctor's dead. Monroe nearly bled to death. If they get Jack...
We need the firebug. The Okie cowboy. Get him, get Elsa. Get him, get all of them.
And at last it makes sense. This wasn't an insurance scam. The Suburban Redevelopment Fund was defrauding the American government. They purchased all this land that they knew was in the path of a freeway that the government was getting ready to build. They built houses on the cheap, but pretended that they were made with costly materials and had them insured as such to set a valuation for the houses and land, so that when the government came by and used eminent domain to take over all of the plots of land to build their freeway, they would be forced to pay market value, which, as valued by Curtis and California Fire and Life, was drastically higher than the Suburban Redevelopment Fund's investment into each property. That was the scam. That's why they were so cheaply built. That's why all of the people in the way had to move. Heading back into the secretary's room, we find a medicine cabinet filled with, you know it.
Looks like Fontaine has finally dispensed his last treatment.
His murder weapon of choice. So before Harlan sold it to the mob, he saved a bit for himself and his patients. On the opposite side of the desk, we find yet another newspaper. The Face of Progress says Mayor of Developer Leland Monroe. Property tycoon has 10-year plan for the city of Los Angeles. Monroe humbled by words of praise.
That goddamn pet lunatic of yours is burning down our houses.
Keep your voice down, Leland. Control is of the essence.
Keep your voice down. Do you know how much these sons of bitches charge for lunch? Fuck them!
Leland, you will not solve our problems by announcing them to the general public. We only speed ourselves on our way to the gallows.
He's your imbecile, Harlan. Get him under control or get rid of him.
Speaking of which, I've had to dispose of our young medical student.
What? You certainly are a cold character, Harlan.
He has a friend called Kelso who knows all about the development on Normandy Avenue.
I know about Kelso.
And you thought it unimportant to inform me.
I thought I could take care of it.
And have you?
No, I haven't.
Kelso works for Benson. Is he reliable?
No, he's totally unreliable. But he has so many pernicious habits, he's got nowhere to run.
Can you take care of Kelso?
Don't push me, Harlan. Get rid of the fruitcake. It's no longer necessary. I'll take care of Jack Kelso.
Pernicious habits, Leland? How could you know about that and not do anything? These men are all monsters. Fast forward to today. Biggs and Cole are looking for the cowboy. Kelso is looking for the cowboy, but he's the only one who has a lead. He arrives at the ranch house at 7:00 p.m.
Guess nobody's home.
Ooh, look at this place. His home, his workshop, and indeed on a nearby workbench,
Most guys bring home a 45 or an M1. This is pretty extreme.
This is military hardware. So the cowboy brought back a flamethrower from World War II? Exploring the farmhouse room by room, we don't find much. Most of the rooms are deteriorated. The beds and other furniture are in pieces. But we soon find the room that he uses as a bedroom. We see military-issue fatigues hanging on a wall, and even more weapons lying around. Heading into what should be a kitchen, we see filth piled up in every corner. And on a shelf, would you look at that? It's a regulator valve from an Insta-Heat hot water heater. So this cowboy did it all, even the ones where Cole and Biggs arrested other suspects. Exploring the rest of the house, we don't find much until we enter the pantry. What was it Cole said about a paper crane?
Paper crane. There's a legend about them. You fold 1,000 of these and you get a wish.
What could this cowboy be wishing for? The resurrection of the dead? Forgiveness of his sins? An end to his pain? Near to the door, we find pictures hanging on a wall.
Quite a flock you got here. I know those faces. Jesus Christ, I know every one of them.
As he should, he's in the photograph as well. Kelso. And Cole is there, standing in the middle to the right. But which one of these others is the cowboy? Which one is I.H.? But then we remember, I.H.
Hogaboom. Weapons compass.
Sir. We have a major cave complex in front of us, Hogaboom.
How did you get my number, Ira? At first I didn't understand you. But now I do.
Ira Hogaboom. He's the guy that Cole ordered to flush out the caves with his flamethrower. But he seemed pretty normal when we saw him during the flashback. What did he do that caused him so much pain? Moving over to his workbench.
A strange obsession.
And on the wall next to it, we find a schematic for the Los Angeles river tunnels.
The river tunnels. This guy's a tunnel rat.
Could this be where Ira took Elsa?
Oh my God, Ira. You poor backwards son of a bitch.
So Kelso has put it together too. He knows it's Ira Hogaboom.
Peterson, I'm going to need some help. I've got Monroe, Fontaine, and all the others. It's all tied up nicely. It goes all the way to the top. Meet me at the LA River Tunnel entrance just north of the First Street Bridge in half an hour. Don't ask questions. Just be there. This is DA's investigator Jack Kelso. I have an urgent radio message for Detective Cole Phelps.
A radio message for Cole? Over police radio? What's he thinking? Back at the Wilshire Police Station. Same day, 8:30 p.m.
KGPL calling car 11K. 11K, come in.
Go ahead, KGPL.
11K, see the man. A 207 just occurred on the spillway north of the First Street Bridge. DA's investigator Jack Kelso reports a kidnapping suspect outstanding in the LA River tunnel system with a hostage. 11K, and
Roger
also
that.
3.
The hell is Jack playing at? Like a suicide note. Half the LAPD will be down there hunting for him.
We need to get there first.
All units on all frequencies stand by. Car 86 Adam is in pursuit of suspect vehicle heading southwest on Sunset Boulevard. Suspect vehicle belonging to Jack Kelso, described as a Navy Chevrolet Fleetline. License number 4, William 0286. Car 86 Adam is in pursuit.
They picked up his car. He'll need help to make it to the river.
So that's his plan. Kelso wanted to flush the rats, but in doing so, he's given himself away. And now the crooked cops will hunt him too.
That's Kelso's car.
We've got to keep these cops off of Kelso and escort him to the river tunnels. Say goodbye to your pension, Herschel. Sorry.
All units, Chief Morrow reports that the suspect is armed and extremely dangerous. Repeat, extremely dangerous. Suspect vehicle to be disabled immediately. If necessary, use of deadly force is authorized.
The suspect vehicle headed west on 5th Street. Repeat, the Chevy Fleet Line Navy Blue, westbound on 5th Street.
Jesus Christ! How many cops do these guys own?
All units, we have a new suspect vehicle. It is shop number 13516. Repeating, shop 13516 is a second suspect vehicle, described as a green Hudson Commodore, license 3 Sam 0102, reported to be aiding suspect Jack Kelso. Use caution, continue pursuit. All units, stand by for further.
All units, suspect vehicle is now northbound on Los Angeles, passing 2nd Street. Car 66 Adam, 77 Adam, go to 1st and Alameda. Car 19 William, go to 1st and Vignes. Repeat, 1st and Vignes. Units to handle, identify, go to 3.
All units, further to the second suspect vehicle, shop 13516. Chief Morrow has authorized the use of deadly force. Repeat, use of deadly force is authorized in disabling both suspect vehicles.
Now, even Cole and Herschel are both shoot on sight. But with that pile of police cars behind us, I think we're in the clear. We escort Jack Kelso all the way to the river tunnels.
Who is this guy?
Peterson, assistant DA.
What's he doing
He's here to cover our backs.
I'm going in there, Jack.
No one's trying to stop you. I found this at the ranch house. He's marked his routes. I'll go in here. Cole, you take the next entrance. Biggs, I need you to take the car and cover this spot here. I think that's his fail-safe exit. Cole, he's one of ours.
What are you talking about?
Right where you are!
Got it?
Got it.
Peterson, you want to be DA? We'll earn your salt.
So, Kelso is your boy, Peterson? And working with Phelps? A handy lad, that Kelso.
Yes, he is, Chief. You can't imagine what those two have uncovered. It could go all the way to the top. I hope you won't be implicated.
So, you're the new broom, Peterson?
Looks like it.
And you think he'll make it out of there alive?
I think he might. He's a difficult boy to get rid of.
All right, Peterson. I'm listening. What's your offer?
While Peterson and the police chief talk politics, Kelso searches for Ira, but crooked cops are waiting for him.
Pokes his head out.
Okay, I'm not going to do this with a pistol anymore. Grabbing a better gun, we can take out the last guy.
Keep on going, Jack.
Moving forward, we clear any stragglers. Well, he's pointing us the way to go. Heading down this narrow passage, we peer around the corner. The unmistakable sound of a flamethrower. Fire at the end of the tunnel. Looks like these crooked cops have met Hogaboom. Running forward, we see a man on the other side of the grate.
Christ. Just missed.
But he's not interested in us yet. Turning around and going through the tunnel, we have to hop down in knee-deep water to continue.
Take your bullet, you son of a bitch! God damn!
The water gets deeper as we move forward, but at the end we find a ladder up.
You're pretty brave for a dead man.
Heading towards the crooked cop we just killed, we pass through a doorway to find a weapons stash. Did Ira hide all of these? How did these get here? After making a choice, we can head out the door and turn right.
How long do you think you can hold out?
To continue down another concrete passage. About halfway down, it's Ira, and he's got the flamethrower. But this wall is blocked off, so we have to turn right and head down a hallway to continue. But this opens up into a large room with catwalks crawling with crooked cops.
You're surrounded and your buddies are dead. You can walk out of here or go out in a box. Your choice.
We turn right and go down a staircase.
That's it. Out of ammo.
At the end of this hallway, we find another weapons cache, and here we can walk away with one of Ira's flamethrowers. But in my opinion, it's best to not pick this up right now, because from here to continue, we have to go down a ladder into the water. Water streams out of the nearby pipes. The water is rising, and we have to cross to the other side as quickly as possible. But all the while, the crooked cops are firing at us from range. But now, we dropped our rifle. We've got a flamethrower, which is useless at this range. If we manage to get across the water alive, sure, we can toast up some nasties. But the flamethrower just makes things unnecessarily harder. So, ignoring the flamethrower and using a rifle, we can actually pick some of them off from across the rising water. Then cross the water, head up the ladder, and pick the rest off as they come around the corner.
That's it. Out of ammo.
When clear, we head up the stairs to arrive at the other side of this large room, filled with even more goons.
You want me? Got it.
When clear, we have to cross it and go down the path towards the Jackson Street pump room. And here...
Are you okay, Princess?
I felt better. He saved me from the doctor.
Hi, Tex. Do you remember me?
I'm not sure that I do. Have you come here to kill her?
Why would I do that, soldier?
Isn't that why you're all here?
I'm here to get her out.
Her. But not me. You haven't come for me.
No, not you. It ends here.
You were with the 6th on Sugarloaf, weren't you?
I was?
And Naha?
Yes, I was.
You're Sergeant Jack Kelso, aren't you? Where's your uniform, Sarge?
At home in my locker, Hogaboom. War's over, soldier.
I know that, Sarge. I'm fighting a different kind of war. I fight for God now.
We all fight for God, Ira.
In our own ways. Not everyone knows it.
Elsa! Are you all right? Get away from her! It's all right, Cole. He doesn't want to hurt her. Ira was with us on Okinawa.
What? You know this guy?
Don't you remember me, Lieutenant? I remember you.
No, I don't.
You ordered me to burn that cave, Lieutenant. That cave full of civilians. A hospital.
What is he talking about?
It was war. For God's sake, I can't be held responsible for everything that happened.
I don't blame you, Lieutenant. You helped me to help other people.
Ira lost his mind on Okinawa, Princess.
Sheldon asked the doctor to help him get it back.
The doctor helped me to find my path. And I helped him to a better life.
Elsa's going to leave now, Ira. She will be all right. You've helped her, too. Get her out of here. Biggs will help. His exit is nearby.
Jack, I need this guy to make the case.
Hasn't this poor bastard given you enough? Get out of here now!
For God's sake, Jack, what are you going to do?
Don't cry, miss. Sergeant Kelso has come to help ease my way. I was proud to serve with you, Jack.
Get out of here, Cole!
What do we do, Lieutenant? Jesus, look at all the kids! Stop the goddamn screaming!
I need to think!
And how do you expect to do that, you fucking maniac? They're burned to a crisp!
Finish them off. Do it humanely. We are leaving this place.
You do it, Phelps! Get your own fucking hands dirty! I'm on morphine!
Put these people out of their pain. Now! That's an order!
Everyone out of here now! Double time! You two get Lieutenant Phelps to an aid station. Weapons team will be blowing this place in 2 minutes. Everything that happened in here stays in here. Do you hear me? I don't want to ever hear another word about it.
He was doing him a favor, Elsa.
Cole, up here! I'll get this Greg hurt! The water's rising!
You're first!
Hand her up!
Get out of here! You're not Jack! I'm not arguing. You're wounded, Jack! Let me help.
What are you waiting for?
Jump, Cole! Jump for it!
We're gathered here to honor Detective Cole Phelps. Cole Phelps was the best kind of man. Hear, hear. A war hero who led his men with true valor. And through his personal bravery achieved one of his country's highest honors. A cop wrongly accused who never lost his faith in the LAPD and the system.
Fine. You belittle his memory.
Elsa.
Get out of my way, Jack. You call yourself his friend.
A detective who fought to expose the evil corruption of the murderous Dr. Fontaine and the rapacious property tycoon Leland Monroe.
Go to her. Will you, Herschel?
A reformer who
You were never his
recognized
friend,
the need
Jack.
to remove the odd bad apple from a department
right.
made up of good men.
Herschel?
A man who never gave up.
Yeah, Jack.
Who continued
never
to
his
fight
enemy.
the good fight.
I think you knew that, Jack.
The fight that cost him his own life. A good husband. A good father. And may I say, a good friend.
when they saw that Cole and Kelso had irreparably ruined their scheme, the chief of police Worrell, Mayor Fletcher Bowron, and Roy Earl made a deal with the new Broom, the guy who was supposed to sweep out all of the corruption from the LAPD. They made a deal with the Broom, a deal whereby Peterson becomes the new district attorney, and he does so having bagged an evil murderer Fontaine and a corrupt tycoon Leland Monroe. But a deal whereby the chief of police, the mayor, and Roy Earl were officially never involved. To make this work, they had to turn Cole into a hero again, which is the whole point of Roy's eulogy. That's why Elsa stormed out. It was all politics, and she saw right through it. There's a lot to unpack here. Instead of diving deep into Cole's character and personality, let's take some time to digest the story and revisit Cole and come to grips with him as a hero or anti-hero or possibly even villain in another episode. For example, how could Roy Earl say Cole was an innocent man when the only crime he was ever charged with was adultery, and the woman with whom he had an affair was in the audience wearing a black veil? How could he say that he was innocent with his wife and his children sitting in the front row? Perhaps it was a lie and everyone knew it was a lie, but a lie that would go on record, a lie that would become the truth. How could Kelso let Peterson and these other corrupt officials get away with this? And why was it a closed casket? Did they ever recover his body? Or was it so badly mangled by the power of the waters that it was unrecognizable? Could he still be alive? But if so, why would he choose to not return to the LAPD? To return to his wife and kids, or even to return to Elsa? How does this ending make you feel? Do you think it made the story better? More realistic? Or, like it did me, did it just piss you off? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I publish new videos each and every week, and now that LA Noire is over, I'm going to be searching for another game to replace it. I have one in mind. I think you'll like it, so stay tuned. If you have subscribed and you feel like you're still not getting YouTube notifications, consider following me on Twitter at Oxhorn. I update Twitter manually with every new piece of content that I publish. I have a shirt shop with completely unique designs that you can't find anywhere else. My shirts come in a variety of men's, women's, and children's sizes and in a wide array of colors. They come on other products as well, like smartphone cases, pillows, posters, mugs, stickers, prints, etc. So if interested, you can find a link to my shop in the description below, or you can click here. If you like what I do and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming a patron on Patreon or a member here on YouTube. But more than anything, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so very much for watching and for joining me for this entire series of LA Noire. But even though it's over, don't worry, I'll see you very soon with more brand new videos.
How about this for a headline? Guess which former 6th Marine hero has been promoted in the LAPD?
No idea.
Well, could be anybody. You give up?
Tell us or hand over the fucking paper.
The Shadow, boys. Our very own Silver Star winning son of a bitch.
Phelps, you didn't die, Jack.
He did just fine, and that's all we're going to say about it, right?
The one and only. Look at this picture. Golden boy getting his badge, wife and kids in tow, and looking awful humble in the process.
Well, he's set.
Phony bastard.
I wonder if they've been holding my job for me after all this time.
What job was that?
Mechanic.
Ain't you seen all the war bond movies, Sarge? All the best mechanics is women. You're gonna have to work as a gigolo from here on in.
I was a bus driver in Santa Cruz. No pictures in the papers or medals for me, though.
I can't believe I just went through Peleliu and Okinawa just to go back to being a washing machine mechanic.
How is it that jerks like Phelps get it all?
It doesn't have to be that way, guys.
What are you talking about? It's always gonna be that way.
Do you have any idea what you guys are sitting on?
Yeah, a ship full of Army surplus.
You're sitting on surplus morphine. 2 tons of it. Can you imagine what that's worth on the streets? Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
You're shitting me.
I'm not. You're talking about stealing it? Keep your voice down. Do you want to have us all thrown in the brig?
God damn it, Sheldon. You want to go into the dope business?
No. I want to be in the peace dividend business.
What is that supposed to mean?
It means I want the guys who fought for a better future to get some share of it. You interested, Jack?
Come on, Top. We could all get out from under.
Oh, it's the chance of our lives.
It's everyone or no one, boys.
I'm not having a bar of it, Courtney. You may be the bravest person I have ever met, but I swear to God, trouble follows you around like a pet fucking dog. I thought you wanted to try for medical school.
So what do you want, Jack? What's the future got in store for you?
You guys were all heroes in the war. Every single one of you. Even if your next door neighbor or your wife never know it and don't give a rat's ass. Fuck Phelps and medals and citations and parades. Fuck the public who are bored with returning GIs. I have nothing but respect for what you guys and the rest of the 6th have done. You go through with this, and you'll be nothing to me.